My name is Gordon Rakita. I'm a professor of anthropology at the University of North Florida and a bioarchaeologist who works in the American Southwest and Northwestern New Mexico.
Hi, I'm John Douglas. I'm Vice President of Research and Standards at Statistical Research, Inc., cultural resource management firm, and I'm also an adjunct professor of anthropology at the University of Arizona. I conducted research on household and colonialism in Mesoamerica, the American Southwest, in California.
Both of us are Society of American Archaeology members who serve on the task force on revisions of the SAA Principles of Archaeological Ethics Stage 2. However, the two of us also co-chaired the preceding task force on revisions of the SAA Principles of Archaeological Ethics Stage 1. We've been asked to give you a brief introduction to what the Stage 1 task force did and how we got where we are.
In the spring of 2018, the SAA Board of Directors directed the Task Force on Revisions of the SAA Principles of Archaeological Ethics Stage 1. Gordon and I were asked to serve as co-chairs of that task force, whose mission was to recommend a process and structure to revise and update the current SAA Principles of Archaeological Ethics that engaged and gathered input from the SAA membership.
Besides the two of us, the task force included 4 other society members: Terry Childs of the U.S. Department of Interior, Sarah Miller of the Florida Public Archaeology Network, Vivian Chanson of the University of Buenos Aires, and Eldon Yellowhorn of Simon Fraser University.
The Task Force 1 members reached out to their networks across the Americas to find out what organizations they knew of which had undertaken establishment or revision of archaeological ethical principles. For those we identified, we reached out to the leadership of those organizations, task forces, or committees responsible for the revisions to find out, through a series of video and conference calls in the summer of 2018, what methods and processes they used, what the experiences were like overall, and what lessons they learned from the work they did.
Questions that we asked included: what was the general process that the organization took? What forms of stakeholder feedback did the organization receive and use? How was stakeholder feedback collected? What forms of media were used? What were the pitfalls that the organization encountered? What were the smart moves that the organization made? Did the organization use one task force or committee for the entire process, or was it phased with different participants in each phase? How long did the process take from start to finish? And how might the organization have done the process differently with 20/20 hindsight?
We summarized our findings in our final task force report that we submitted to the board in the fall of 2018. In part, we recommended 2 more stages to task forces. We envisioned a second task force that would gather input and feedback from the SAA membership and other stakeholders on the existing ethical principles, which were last updated in the mid-1990s. This second task force would then pass along their collected responses and feedback from membership and others to a third task force that would be charged with drafting revisions to the Society's ethical principles. This last task force would incorporate the recommendations, collected membership feedback on the current principles, and other advice provided them by the second task force.
In the fall of 2018, the Society's Board of Directors created this planned second task force, chaired by Sarah Miller. The main task of our second of 3 task forces is to develop and deploy a membership survey to collect feedback on the current ethical principles and suggestions for revision. In addition to seeking thoughts on existing principles, this survey aims to collect feedback on membership and stakeholder attitudes towards whether they think the SAA ethical principles should be aspirational codes or a set of living documents.
The main objective of the survey our task force sent out to membership recently is to gather feedback on revising the SAA Code of Ethics and compile data with preliminary interpretations to guide the subsequent last task force in their mission to revise the ethical principles, both in content and in form.
So that brings us to today. You should have received an email from SAA President Joe Watkins inviting you to participate in the survey. We hope that you have either already completed the survey or will do so soon. We anticipate that the survey will take you only about 15 to 20 minutes to complete.
We really hope that you decided to participate in the survey because our ethical principles are one of the foundations of the SAA and offers direction on how we, as archaeologists, are to professionally act. Your input is critical to ensuring that the SAA ethical principles align with the way that we all feel we need to act. Thank you for helping lead the SAA through your input into the future.